Hi everyone, this is Malika. Welcome to Metadata Best Practices webinar for custom audiences. We'll just give people to join the webinar another minute or so, and then we'll get right into it. Alrighty, thank you for waiting. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Malika Kennedy, and I'm the Senior Customer Success Manager here at Metadata. I have been at Metadata for about a year and a half, and I work with clients, whether they were self-serve, startups, mid-market, or enterprises. And I've been working very closely with them, running their demand gen marketing campaigns through Metadata. For today's webinar, we will focus on the custom audiences portion on the Metadata platform. We'll do an intro to custom audiences. We'll look into why should we create custom audiences, where did it all start. We'll go into the data sources that Metadata partners with, what are the different types of custom audiences, and what type of custom audience should you test first. Then we'll go into talking about best practices when you're building your custom audiences in the Metadata platform. What happens after a custom audience is created, what are the match rates like, or when does the audience finish being matched, can you preview these audiences, how do you implement an audience into a campaign, and then how do you track results and KPIs for that specific audience that you built. I will be stopping after each section, after each slide, to see if there are any questions. And yeah, more questions the merrier. Would love for this to be a two-way conversation. All right. So before metadata, typically, how did the whole process of demand gen marketing started, right? So sales and marketing teams have got together, or they got together with the top management, and what they tried to find was their ideal customer profile, their ICP. They want to be aligned on what type of accounts, what type of people the company wants to go after. And typically they would, would make the best guess depending on the past deals they have sold, or they would, even investigate all their historic CRM data and analyze it. And it would take time and money and resources and find the right accounts to sell into. The next step after that is the fact that, finding a data source vendor, finding a database where you were able to extract a list of accounts and a list of contacts that you would like to go after. And then you have to move that data around, right? So you choose one vendor, you get their data, you have to move it into your CRM, your marketing automation system, so on and so forth. Once you have that in place, the marketing team is then responsible for, creating audiences, using these lists and contacts, and finding these people on different ad networks, and creating demand for their product, for their business. However, it's still restricted. There still isn't good solution for some channels like Facebook, especially when you're doing B2B marketing and you're doing ABM, account list marketing, named account marketing. It's really hard to find a solution for a channel like Facebook. And it's also very time consuming because you have to be in all these different ad networks. You need to know how they work, what are the ways you can really, find the widest possible audience that is your ICP. And because it takes so long to build one audience or a couple of audiences, you end up restricting your testing a bit. You cannot test, 3, 4, 5 audiences altogether and just stick to the ones that work. So what ends up happening is you end up spending your marketing dollars first and then tracking results to see, hey, was this strategy worth it? And if it was not, then we're back to square one. We have to see, was our ICP wrong? Was the data source not right? What do we need to course correct this time around here? And there's obviously opportunity cost attached to it, literally. When you're spending your time trying to do the best with one type of audience, one type of strategy, you might not be investing your time or your resources in other strategies that could yield opportunities or pipeline for your team and for your company. So then enters metadata. An integrated demand gen engine that's all about automation, that's all about integrating all your marketing technologies, all your marketing tech stack into one platform. So you can test as much as you want and as fast as you can. So let's talk a little bit about the different data sources or databases that metadata integrates with. So metadata integrates with all the famous databases that you might be aware of already, like ZoomInfo, InsideView, PIPL, Aberdeen, Mintigo, G2, Bambora, and all these different data vendors have their own database, and they each have their own specialty. For example, Aberdeen is really good for technology data. It's really good at knowing what type of different technologies a company might be using. Bambora is really great for intent data. It will help you identify the different companies that are searching for specific industry topics. InsideView or PIPL could be really great for contact data, finding the right contact within the target accounts. So rather than you having to evaluate these different vendors and pick one depending what suits you better, metadata has integrated all of these different vendors into the platform, and it gives you the best for the different categories that you're looking for. And not only that, metadata also integrates with Salesforce, ad channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, Display, your marketing automation systems, HubSpot, Eloqua, Marketo. So all your marketing flow is automated, and it moves, and all your leads and all your opportunities, they move through smoothly. So for example, if you did not know your ICP, or there was what you can do is you can connect your Salesforce to metadata, and our patented machine learning algorithm will look into all your historic sales data. If there's a specific period you want to pull an ICP for, you can also do that. And it will spit out exactly the type of firmographics, technographics, or even persona level data that you should be targeting. It will tell you where you've had most success with in terms of the company sizes or in terms of some of the job titles. So it will tell you who you should be talking to and who you should not be talking to. But hey, maybe you already have your ICP figured out, you already have your list of target accounts that you want to go after. Amazing. You can immediately access the database, the metadata database, and build any number of audiences for any number of personas or any number of segments you like within minutes. And you can easily implement these audiences into campaigns that automatically get pushed out to LinkedIn, Facebook, that can generate leads and then get automatically synced into your Eloqua or HubSpot, that can then get followed up and then pushed back into your CRM, building basically a closed loop marketing cycle. And the best part is you can actually preview these audiences that you're going to be using in your marketing campaigns before you actually start spending your money on it. Metadata allows you to preview audiences, allows you to even fix some things in your audiences before you actually spend your money on it if something doesn't look right. And the best part is because we are reducing the amount of manual labor that goes into buying data, moving data, creating campaigns, pushing campaigns, you can test multiple audiences at once and just stick with what works. So let's go into a bit regarding what type of custom audience should you first test for your campaigns. And that really depends on what is your marketing goal currently, right? So if your goal is account penetration or penetrating the top 100 accounts or tier 1 accounts, Then of course, the first type of audience that you might want to go after is a list of companies and an ABM list. Or if your goal is to generate a ton of leads at really low CPL, then probably the best type of audience to use there would be a website retargeting audience or intent audience. So it really depends on your marketing goal. I'm going to move over to the next slide, but before I do so, I wanted to take a second and just see if anyone has any questions. Feel free, to unmute yourself, let me know your question, or feel free to throw it in the questions box. Alrighty, so let's go ahead to the next slide. So really there are 4 different types of custom audiences. First type is firmographic audience. A firmographic audience is essentially based on factors like company size or revenues. That could be in terms of number of employees or the company revenue, the company geography, what regions or what countries the company is located in, and what are the different type of industries they operate in. So you get all these different types of filters to source a list of companies that would fit your ICP. And if you're familiar with metadata platform, you'll see you will always have company filters on the left side of the custom audience page and contact filters on the right side. And we'll go into best practices for each of these and how to get the biggest possible targeted audience. The next type of audience is technographic, and this is an audience that's based on complementary or competitive technologies that companies can be using. So in my example here, I'm trying to build a custom audience actually for metadata ourselves. So I'm looking for companies that are either using Marketo, HubSpot, or Eloqua and are 50 employees and above. So this is one way of sourcing a custom audience, depending on the different technologies that companies are using. Another type of audience is intent. Intent could be Bumpora, Mintigo, G2, even retargeting could be looked at as somewhat of an intent audience because they've been to your website before. They have some sort of intent for your offering. So based on and intent could be based on also different industry topics. So people who are searching for demand generation tools or looking for CRM tools. So you can source different type of audiences using intent. And last but not the least, ABM targeting, where you can upload a list of accounts or you can upload a list of contacts and target those people on the social networks. And lastly, you have your persona, which you always apply no matter how you're sourcing your list of accounts on the left side. You will always apply a persona criteria in your custom audience creation because you want to find the right contacts within these accounts. Any questions so far? Alrighty. So let's go into best practices when building custom audiences using company filters. So for firmographics, what I would recommend is using either employee size or revenue size filter, but not using them together. When you use those 2 criteria together, what you will find is you'll get a more restricted audience. So I would use either or create 2 different variations of your audiences, one based on revenue, one based on employees, and then you can preview your audiences and see if it makes sense to maybe combine both together or just use one or the other. And we'll get into the platform in just a second and also build an audience together. The next is technographic. In technographic, you have an AND functionality to group various products together. So let's go ahead into the metadata demo account. and look into building this audience. So when you log into your metadata dashboard, this is your main dashboard page. You want to go to custom audiences, hit new custom audience on the top right corner, and let's go into building this technology audience. So you can see here, we call this product group 1, and then you also have this additional button here to add another product group. So for example, my product only works if a company is using, let's say it only works if it's using Salesforce and it's using Marketo. So rather than if I add Salesforce and Marketo both in this category here in product group 1, this is an OR logic. The system will find companies that are using Salesforce CRM or Marketo. However, if I add Marketo technology in product group 2, this becomes an AND logic. So now the system will look to find companies that are using both of these technologies, Salesforce CRM and Marketo. And this is what I was talking about in terms of company firmographics. I recommend using one as revenue, and if not revenue, using employee size, and seeing what gives you the biggest possible audience. The estimate size that you see on the top here is for the list of, for the number of accounts, not number of people. So if you see any estimates on the right side, on the contact side of the screen, it will be for the number of contacts. And if you see anything on the left side, it would be for companies, accounts. All right. Intent is a very good audience for initial tests. If you have no preference, these are companies that are searching for a specific topic. So if you have a customer success manager, they will get you integrated with that intent data. You can select any number of topics. You can choose to even segment your audiences based on different intent topics. So say, cloud providers could be one intent, database migration, disaster recovery. These are all different intent topics, but you could have a company that operates in all of those different segments. So you might want to segment your audiences based on different intent topics as well. So account-based marketing, which is basically a company list targeting. So here what you want to do is upload a list of accounts. And we have a little template button here. This is the LinkedIn, Facebook template that we use so that these lists automatically get uploaded into the different ad channels. But what I really recommend here is if you look at the template, it will ask you to provide the company name as well as company website or company domain. What I recommend doing is leaving the company name column as is, leave it blank, and only add the company domains on and under the company website column. And what that will really do is give you the most accurate possible audience. For example, if the company name is say 123, what the system will try to do then, and there's no company website attached to it, but the system will try to do then is find different domains that map to the company name 123. And maybe the way the database is stored, the company is 123.io, not 123, so it might not find that match, that precise match. So the best way to make sure you get as many accounts as possible involved into your custom audience, I would recommend only finding those company domains and only uploading company domains to the account-based custom audience search. And for ABMs, and this could also pertain to the same thing as contact list, when you also say you already have a list of contacts that belong to these accounts because your SDRs, your sales teams have been working them, or maybe this is a sales acceleration strategy. Either way, the recommendation here would be to upload at least 3,000 contacts And that's mainly because we want you to have a large enough audience possible, and the minimum requirements from LinkedIn is about at least 300 contacts. So essentially what happens is when you build an audience, there would be a certain drop off. LinkedIn and Facebook would actually have to find these 3,000 contacts in their system to see, hey, do they exist? Do they not exist? And the way they identify these people is by their email. And sometimes we don't, when companies upload a list of contacts, they usually have business emails and non-personal emails. There's a match rate, there becomes a match rate issue. So you will typically on contact lists, you'll see a smaller match rate of between 10% to 20%. And the minimum required match rate for LinkedIn is 300 and 1,000 for Facebook. So we recommend at least uploading 3,000 contacts so you get some sort of match rate, some sort of audience that you can actually play with in your campaigns. And we want an audience to be as big as possible. So eventually, ideally, this should be something closer to 10, 20,000. It should be in tens and thousands, the number for contact list, but 3,000 as a minimum. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. I saw one question come in. It is, what is your source for company technology data? For company technology data, we have multiple sources, but one of the biggest source would be Aberdeen, which is this logo right here, Aberdeen data. Any other questions? I'll wait another second before going into the next slide. All right. So let's look into best practices when building custom audiences, but on the persona side of things, right? So typically one of the most common scenarios where what I would see is, when you're building your audience, you probably type, marketing, and then you would probably attach marketing job function as well, and then you might just add another seniority here. And every time you add this filter, you'll see your audience size shrink. So what we recommend is either doing a search just by job function or just by job title, but not together, because that will always end up restricting your audiences. And even though there could be a larger target ICP audience available, you might be restricting it because of applying too many filters in one custom audience search. So the best practice, we recommend either creating a custom audience variation by job title or by job function. The other best practice here is creating custom audiences by job titles only. And there are a few different ways to do this. So let me actually enlarge this. So here I have a few examples. So you can search by job titles by using specific titles. So it's case sensitive. So here I'm using specific titles like Director Marketing, Chief Marketing Officer, VP Marketing, Vice President Marketing. So I'm really asking the system to pull me contacts that have these exact titles. But this could include Director of Marketing or also Marketing Director. But job title will definitely have the two words or the string of words that you insert here. For example, for Chief Marketing Officer, don't think that CMO will be included in it. CMO will be a separate job title on its own. VP Marketing, that's why we have VP Marketing and then Vice President Marketing separately here. So you can do it by specific titles. You can also do it by keyword search, and keyword search is something that would typically give you the largest possible largest possible audience, where you're really just going after, hey, find me any contact in these companies that has the word growth, marketing, or marketer in their title. And you can kind of see the different audience sizes here as well. The third way to create a custom audience by job titles would be to use the exclude functionality as well. So in one of our newer releases, we had this new feature implemented, which is exclude job title. And what this really lets you do is, you're able to source any contact at a company that has the title marketing in it, but maybe you don't want product marketers. You want everybody that has a title marketing, but you just don't want to target product marketers, right? So you can exclude the job title keyword product, and this will give you all people that share the marketing title but are not product, but are not in product marketing. So those are the three ways you can source contacts within a list of accounts. And the third best practice here would be to build multiple variations. Just test, you have all these different data sources, you have plethora of contacts, of accounts, of different ways to segment and create your audiences. Test it out. See what's working best, because you can actually preview this data before pushing in the campaign. To test, play around, have fun with it. See what different audiences you can create. Maybe there's one specific way that really works best for your company. So maybe you just need to find that way. So let's go into more topics of custom audience building, like match rates, time, previews, implementing an audience, and tracking results. But before we do that, are there any questions? Awesome. Alrighty. So custom audience match rates and times. So typically when we create, actually let's go ahead and create one. To make it really simple, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate an older audience, and this will also give you another idea on how you can refresh your audiences or easily make amendments to your current custom audiences. So let me go ahead and duplicate this firmographic audience. Say I missed to add United States as my lead location last time, so let me just go ahead and add it so my targeting is a bit more accurate. Let me increase the company size here. Alrighty, and I'm ready to create my custom audience. The cool part is when you're duplicating an audience and creating it again, it will carry on the name of your previous audience, so you don't have to do too much edits. I'm just going to say November 2019, and I'm going to go ahead and create this audience. So you'll first see the audience in a running status, and you'll see Facebook and LinkedIn pending matches. And what's really happening is, the platform is running this query, it's pulling those lists of accounts, it's pulling those lists of contacts. And then what will happen is we will have a match rate here of the number of contacts and of the number of companies that we found that fit your ICP criteria. This should take, depending on the size of the audience, it's going to take anywhere between a couple of minutes to an hour, a few hours. It really depends how large your audience is. And once that is done, the second step is the audiences automatically get pushed into Facebook and LinkedIn, and now they begin the process of matching, which again is essentially Facebook and LinkedIn trying to find these people on their own ad networks. So one of the reasons why you'll probably see higher match rates with metadata compared to other vendors is because we partner with these data sources, with these different data sources. So not only do we have the business email for the contacts, we also have their cookies, we also have the personal email. We have all these PII points of information that we're able to find better match rates for you, which basically means a bigger audience for you on these ad networks to target. So what will happen is after about in between 3 to 24 hours, you'll begin to see some match rates for Facebook. I recommend waiting until the full 24 hours because you'll keep seeing the Facebook match rate number grow. And then LinkedIn will almost always take 48 hours to finish matching. And the reason why we really have to wait for either channel to finish matching is because we can't really implement it into a campaign until it has finished matching. If you're ever curious, say you come into your platform after a while, you were on a vacation, you come back, and you completely forgot, what were these audiences that you built from in January of this year or in June of this year. So what you can really do is quickly hit this button called View Criteria, and it will show you what was the criteria that you input in the system to create this custom audience. And yeah, and if everything looks good, you're all set there. If you want to preview an audience, what do the company and the people look like in this audience, you can hit preview data or simply click on the audience, and it'll show you the people and the companies you will be targeting. So it will show you, hey, this is your sample of your audience. Do these titles look good? Do these companies look good? If, for example, you see, hey, there's a lot of companies here that belong to the education industry, and I don't want to target education industry. So great, you want to go ahead and duplicate this audience and check your industry criteria and make sure education is in there, or you only have the appropriate industries attached to your custom audience search. So this is all information you get. You have not spent $1 on these people. You have not spent any money advertising to these people. You get to see this data. You get to course correct it before you implement it. And once everything looks good, you can start putting these audiences in your campaigns. So in order to implement, let's go here into a draft campaign. To implement an audience, it's pretty simple. You just choose your custom audience in your ad builder. You can pick one audience or you can pick multiple audiences. If there's a specific type of audience you're searching for, I recommend using some of these filters. It really narrows down how many audiences you see at one glance. So yeah, just go ahead and pick your audiences, add them into your campaign, and you're all set. So this is a great example. You're in a big rush to get this campaign out the door. Say the LinkedIn audience hasn't finished matching yet because it's not been 48 hours, but Facebook has. So what you can do is leave LinkedIn disabled and just create a Facebook campaign today, get it launched. When LinkedIn finished matching, you can set up a different campaign just for LinkedIn and get that launched at that time. So just an option. In case it's all finished matching, you can obviously enable both channels in one campaign, add audiences, and go from there. What you can also do is group audiences together into an audience group. So right now, any ads you build, it will be served to these audiences separately. But say, I just want a really, really, really large audience to go after for my campaign, and my goal is to get a ton of traffic to my website. I just want to blast all my target audience with my ads, and I want to do it, say, at low CPM and CPC. So it's really important for my marketing goal currently to get a widest possible audience. So you can just drag and drop these audiences on top of each other, and now you have an audience group of 176,000 people. And what I recommend is also, naming this group, saying, you can say mixed audience, or say if it was all ABM, so you can say ABM accounts and contacts, or say it's just a mixed group. You can go ahead and rename that audience. And basically what will happen now is when you're tracking the results for a particular custom audience, it won't be on separate individual audiences. It will be based on an audience group. The other thing you can do here to track results and KPIs also is create your campaigns based on the different audiences. So say your offer is a ebook, you can have a campaign called ABM ebook. And then you can have another campaign saying intent ebook. And these different campaigns are targeting different audiences, different custom audiences. Or you can also do a multivariate campaign where you have an offer, you have your ads, and you just want to see which would be the best audience to use for this type of offer, and then you can add a couple of different audience groups or even a couple of different audiences, and this could be we can call this intent, we can call this firmographic, and now when we push this campaign out, we can see which of these will perform better for this particular asset. The easiest way to track those sort of KPIs or results would be going into the experiments tab in the metadata platform and using our custom audiences filter to say, hey, I want to look at all my ABM audiences. I want to see how much did we spend on all our ABM custom audiences. So I've selected all of my ABM audiences. Now I can see my total spend, how many impressions, clicks, cost per click, CPL. If any of those things are relevant, you will be able to see all those KPIs, within a couple of minutes. And you can also sort it by date. So you only want to know the ABM benchmarks or KPIs for Q3 or Q2. So you can always pick your dates. Hey, I only want to know how my ABM campaigns perform on LinkedIn. I only want to know how my ABM campaigns perform on Facebook. You can also do that. So there are a ton of filters that you can add in conjunction with your audience filter to derive different type of learnings from your custom audience performance. Yeah. So typically what I also recommend doing is every now and then you want to come in here and you want to always try to find, hey, what are, especially if you're if you're a marketing team who loves to try net new audiences, ABM audiences, intent audiences, all these different types of audiences, and you're experimenting a lot. What would be really cool for you to see is which audience is really driving the most amount of leads, or which audience is really driving the lowest cost per lead for me. Which audience is driving or influencing most number of opportunities or triggering most number of opportunities for me. And now you can either sort this in descending order, or you can simply select a filter if you want. Right now it doesn't look like there's anything here, so let's just reset this. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to track custom audiences. You can also choose to tag the different campaigns you're running, and you can also tag your audiences, your campaigns by audience names like ABM or intent or named accounts. Just you can slice it and dice it any number of ways you want to get to the results you want to see. Another big part about custom audience, especially when it comes to account-based marketing, is ABM lists. So when you upload a company list to create a company list or ABM audience, that list will automatically be pushed into the ABM list library. If you want to see, account penetration, or if you want to see company level data in that ABM list, like, hey, I had 100 accounts in my account list. I want to see how many of those 100 accounts I've served an impression to, or clicked to, or generated a lead from, or influenced an opportunity from. And we are able to give you that data in a report called accounts report. But first, for that data to be available into your accounts report, you must push the ABM list to account report. So what I'll do is I'll select my account list and I will add it to account report. You can also choose to remove an older account list from that tracking if you want to. You can remove it, you can archive it, you can do whatever you want. So now any account list that has a check against it will start to show reporting against it in accounts report. Account report can be found in your reporting section under the accounts tab. So depending on how much data you have, this could take some time to load. This looks like it's loading pretty fast. So it will show you the company, the domain, how many impressions have been served, how many clicks have been served. Typically, the impression and click data, you will see that from display network. So all this information is typically being pulled in from your programmatic campaigns and in a little bit from your LinkedIn campaigns. But all the lead information is only from your Facebook and social campaigns, and it will show you also the ABM list that this company was attached to. Because sometimes the same company can be in multiple lists. So you'll see the different lists the company belongs to. You'll see how many accounts have been penetrated, what the total impressions, clicks, leads, etc. Again, you can sort this by dates, you can sort this by channels, you can see it for ABM lists, but you know what? You can also see it for different custom audiences. If you have custom audiences based on firmographics or technographics, you can also track company level data for those audiences as well. Any questions so far? Alrighty. Yeah. So let's go back into custom audiences. So one thing that we didn't touch yet was uploading an audience to your programmatic channel. And for that, first make sure you have talked to your customer success manager. You are all set up on display. And once you are, it's really easy. All you have to do is pick your audience and upload to programmatic. And you'll get a check once it gets uploaded. Now, programmatic will typically take three days to match the cookies for this audience. So it's a little variable on the programmatic side. Also, again, depends on the size of the audience, but it's something that you can push right from the platform. Yeah. So in terms of custom audiences, that's pretty much what I have to share today. I want to keep some time for questions and answers. I'll be on the line for the remaining 15 minutes. If you guys have any questions related to custom audiences or even just related to the metadata platform in general, let me know and I'll be happy to answer any questions.